Assalamu alaikum, and this is Naaila. I am contributing counselor here for aboutislam.net. You know, today I was asked to talk about such a sensitive topic. And so for that reason, I am even more interested in what it is that you have to say and your questions. As always, I want to know who's in the room with me. Please let me know where you are joining from. I am in the United States in Atlanta, Georgia, in what we call Metro Atlanta, one of the biggest cities here in the United States. It's a beautiful day today. We haven't had spring yet. It's still cold. So we're wondering what the weather's going to do here. But let me hear from you. Now, as I said, the topic today is domestic violence. And I already have a few questions. But before I begin, I want to talk about my own experience as a counselor with domestic violence, because there are many things that happen and that come up. Assalamu alaikum, Akbar. I see you're from India. Thank you for being here today. I work with a lot of people from India, and as a matter of fact, I'm having an event here in the U.S. in a couple of weeks, and we're having Indian food. So love it, love all the beautiful things that come with the culture. Thank you so much for being here today. And so, as I was saying, you know, I'm going to talk about domestic violence. And so there are a couple of things that I want us to all be aware of, because this is something people really don't know. And that is, what is domestic violence? First, we often think that it's just something physical, and it's not. It comes in so many different forms. One, I'm going to talk about a couple. You know, one of the most subtle ways of displaying domestic violence is by the use of intimidation. And what that is that giving someone a nasty look, destroying their property, abusing their pets, displaying weapons, putting a knife out on the table, not saying anything about it, but just putting it there. You know, I work with someone, and I know some people will say, oh, they were just fish. You know, a young lady, she had fish, and her husband, she went away. She went to visit family, and he starved the fish. You know, she was so upset by it. And this seems like such a small thing. And some people would say, oh, it's just fish. But it was hurtful. The goal was to be hurtful. Thank you also, Akbar. And I mean to the dua, Umar, and may Allah grant you the same. And so use the use of intimidation by a gesture. You know, for example, a couple may be out in public, and you may get a certain look, or one of them may, you know, make a certain hand motion, and the other person knows that that's a threat of something to come. And I want to dispel and get rid of the whole idea that domestic violence only happens with women, because that's a lie. I know men who are Muslim men, and it does, because this has nothing to do with faith, that are also victims of domestic violence. Okay, another way that you can have this is with emotional abuse. By putting someone down, by calling them names, by having them think that they're crazy, by having the person question their own common sense. This is actually called gaslighting. That's a term for that. You have them, you know, playing mind games with them, humiliating a person, you know, making them feel guilty about their own decisions and the things that they do. All of this is domestic violence. People are like, oh, well, I didn't even realize that was happening to me. Another thing that happens with domestic violence is isolation. Very often a person will think, oh, it's so sweet. You just want to be with me all the time. Oh, this is so nice. You just want us to be together so much. Oh, that's nice. You really care about me, that you want to be with me all the time. But what this ends up being is an issue of control. It's about controlling who the person sees, who they talk to, what they read, where they go. It controls all of their outside movement. It controls everyone that they may be involved with outside of the relationship. So isolation is another way that people can be abused with domestic violence. Remember now, I'm also taking your questions. Let me know where you're from. And I do have a couple of questions that I'm going to go over in just a second. But if someone here has something and you want to ask it privately, please go to the message box, go to the inbox. And the Great About Islam support staff will ensure that I keep myself organized and that I'll be able to answer it, inshallah, during this session. All right. The other thing that can be used is the minimizing, the denying, and the blame. Oh, you make light of the abuse. What are you talking about? I didn't say that to you. What do you mean? You take things so seriously. I didn't do that to you. And if I did do it to you, you know what? You made me do it. It's your fault anyway. This blame and this minimizing the behavior, this is a form of domestic violence. Next, people use the children. They use the children from the marriage and go and tell your father this. No, you can't go. Let's say the couple is divorced. No, you can't go visit. I'm not going to let you go visit your mother. No, you can't talk to your father. Oh, if you do this to me, I'm going to leave and I'm going to take my children and you're never going to see them again. Using the children as a form of control and as a threat to get someone to do whatever it is that you want them to do, or to just be hurt, because that's hurtful. Those are hurtful things to say. That is also domestic violence. Now, I'm not going to be able to cover them all, but I want to cover one more. And this one is economic abuse. Controlling the money, controlling the coins, controlling the cash. Making sure that you can't get a job, you have to ask for money, or you can't get any money at all. The use of the control of the money is a way to prevent the other person from leaving. It can be seen as, oh, well, you're just providing for me. And sometimes, inshallah, that really is the case. But not letting someone have access to their own income, and I'm going to speak specifically in regard to women. A woman has the right to her own money. Now, a couple may decide that she's not going to work prior to marriage or while they have children, but she does have the right to have her own money. She does have the right to maintain the property and the things that she came to the marriage with. She has the right to create her own income, and using the control of funds to prohibit her movement is also a form of domestic violence. So I've covered those. Oh, hi, you come from Kenya. Thank you. Thank you for joining us today. So now I'm going to go specifically to the questions, but I really wanted to go through and cover the many ways, some of the many ways domestic violence happens, and that we ignore it, or we don't believe that to be exactly what it is. Okay, so we have a question from a young man from India. He said, I've been married for the past 2 years, and my husband is, it says male, but I'm assuming if it's my husband, this is a female. So for the past 2 years, and my husband is totally dependent on his family business for money, which is run by his father. He's a good human being, but he never takes a stand for me. Even when his mother raises her hand or uses extremely filthy language. My husband would console me later, and he would tell me to stop crying, but never stops his mother from doing these things. His mother has constant interference in our life, and she doesn't allow us to go out. I have to get permission for everything. If she's in a good mood, she will be the nicest human being that you've ever met, and she will help me and she will praise me. But I find her manipulative if something doesn't happen according to her wishes. My parents are also very tired of this, and it's affecting my health and my emotional status. I feel like a prisoner. I've tried talking to my husband, but he doesn't go against his mom. My parents want to take legal action against my mother-in-law, but I don't want my husband to suffer. What should I do? My husband would never be ready to leave his parents' place for a separate home, and my mother-in-law is making it very difficult for me to leave here. When she behaves well with me, I find it hard to forget her filthy words and her hand-raising insults. Oh, this is a difficult one because so many different people are actually being affected by what's going on in this house. One, you have the wife. Two, you have the husband who doesn't want to see his wife to be hurt. But he's also financially dependent. And then there's the respect. There's just the natural respect and regard that you have for your parent. And sometimes we extend that respect and regard even when a person is wrong. Now, first, I'm going to be very truthful and say what is not being said. All right. There are certain cultures, and this goes all across the globe, where some of the things that I just read are normal. And I am not being specific to any country because it's not. There are certain subcultures, even within the U.S., where some of this is quite acceptable. Now, secondly, let's look at this from an Islamic position. It is, Islam tells us to speak out against oppression, even when we speak against our own selves. There is nothing in Islam that tells us to be okay or to be cool with oppression. Nothing. Now, what do you do when it is your parents? Islam also says, do not allow your parents to take you to a sinful place. You are respectful with them, but you don't condone anything that is wrong. So this is where the sensitivity comes in, because I don't know about a lot of you, but it would be really hard for me to tell my mother, you're wrong. That's hard to say to your parent. But we have to look at the damage that's being done within an entire family unit. So I'm going to talk about what this young lady can do, because if she chooses to stay within this marriage, and she's given no indication that she wants to leave, so we're going to function from that premise. If she chooses to stay within the marriage, what this is going to require of you is, one, for you to focus on having some of your needs met, well, almost most, because we know that everything comes from Allah. To seek having your needs met through increasing your relationship with Allah. That's the first thing. Secondly, all of us are born with the gifts and the talents that Allah gives us. And sometimes it is incumbent upon us to develop something on the inside, to develop something internally, and pull a strength from yourself that you can get from nowhere else to get you through moments such as this. Now, how do you do this? One, as I said, your relationship with Allah, and this includes fasting, this includes thickering, this includes getting up, for the night prayers. Secondly, this will require you to do things that are compassionate to you. If you're not getting compassion and care consistently, because I do hear some kindness in what you said. But if you're not getting compassion and care consistently, the one place where you can always experience that is for you to experience compassion and from yourself. And this means thinking good thoughts. This means taking, even if it's 10, 15 moments out of your day to experience and enjoy some solitude and some quiet moments with yourself. This includes speaking gratitude, literally speaking the things around you that you see that you're grateful for, so that you can still be mindful of the good in your life. And these are some of the things that will help to take you to a better place. Assalamu alaikum, Muhammad. Happy to see you with us today. Where are you joining from? Let us know. Let me know where you're from. I like to know who's in the room with us and how far, how wide the expansion is. So I'm going to go to the next question. I was married 3 years ago and blessed with a beautiful child. I am a caring wife and I do all I can for my husband, except what is haram and not accepted Islamically. But my husband does not see all of these. He never appreciates my good work, but he keeps talking about a single mistake. He does not give me my rights, maybe once in 6 months. That's when he wishes to. Anytime I'm in the mood, he just denies it and says I'm sleeping. I'm assuming she's talking about physical intimacy. I have talked to him several times, but no improvement. And now just because I wake him up from his sleep to collect people's money with him, while the owner is waiting for me outside, he stopped talking to me. I don't actually know what to do. I'm just fed up with his character, and he has no smile at all. You know, this is one of those situations where I work with many, many couples. And of course, I'm only hearing from the wife. But I also understand totally that regardless of what the spouse says, this is how she is experiencing the situation. It may not even be true, but this is her experience, and this is true for her. And so on the other hand, the husband, he will also have his experience, and his experience is true for him. Now, if he were here, I'd have a couple of questions for him, because I'd be wondering, is he a happy man? Because I don't hear a lot of happiness. It sounds like someone who's in a bad mood. And this mood, this disposition may actually have nothing to do with his wife. She's just someone who's experiencing it. Now, I don't know this to be true, but this is just something that I am thinking about even before I respond to her. And so I'm going to say to you, sister, when you say he doesn't appreciate me and he brings up a single mistake, I don't know what this mistake is, but I do know this from couples. Many times it's not this long series of problems. People get stuck in the events and the things that have repeatedly happened within the marriage that frustrates them. But it's usually one or two things that really just took them over the edge, and everything else just adds on to it. And this single mistake, whatever it is, it might be one of his couple of things that really took him to a negative place. What I would recommend that the two of you do is, if you can, inshallah, seek the advice of the elder. You know, what the Quran tells us, and when a husband and wife, when you need mediation, one, you go to your family, and sometimes family is not available. And so you have one person for her, and you have one person for him. Many people are very reluctant. They don't want to. I don't know. I don't want to talk to anyone. I don't want to go out there and tell my business. But I totally understand that. We want to conceal the faults of another person. But this is one of the times when Islam gives consent, when you are seeking help, when you are seeking healing. This is one of the times when you have to go outside of yourself to go and to get the help. Because I'm seeing a couple of things here. I'm seeing the right of sexual intimacy not happening. I am seeing the right of some lack of kindness. I am seeing the issues with communication, and I don't even know what the other person would say in regard to what's going on within the marriage. But I do know that even without having spoken to the husband, he's probably feeling his own issues. And when people say things like "I'm fed up," that's a little unnerving for me, because you don't want anyone to get a divorce, and those are one of those blanket statements that people often say when they're getting to the end, when they're getting really tired. So please seek the advice and the confidence of an elder. I know sometimes, and I did. Why didn't she say any ma'am? And I'm going to tell you why. Because sometimes people are just not going to go to the imam. People are more likely to be more hesitant to go to the imam because they're ashamed. They're very ashamed to admit that these things are going on in our house. So this is why I'm saying, you can go to an imam. Please consider that. Oh, assalamu alaikum. Wa alaikum salam, Sanaa. You're from India. Oh, yes. Sanaa says, apart from violence we face from our in-laws, this is a very sad reality that some sisters and brothers face from their own parents. And our parents expect more than our capacities, and in such a way that they want obedient children to deal with things patiently and sacrificing their own desires. But what happens in the long run is they undergo so many psychological behavioral changes. I totally agree with you, Sanaa. And it's not just from India, though. This happens worldwide, where we have unrealistic expectations for family members and for people that we love. And when you have a parent-child dynamic, it's one thing. And then when you have a parent-adult-child dynamic, that's totally something else. And when you add things that we expect to be normal that are wrong within a culture, people will use Islam, they will use their culture, they will use their own belief systems to continue doing things that are sometimes very good and then sometimes that are very harmful. And it is incumbent upon us to look within our specific family unit to do what we can about it. You may not be able to do anything about everyone on your block, but what you can do is you can do and start making a change within your family unit so that those within your family, they can change. And when you can teach something new to your own children, and your children will learn to do something better. Okay. What to do in this case, anything else other than fulfilling all desires silently, patiently waiting for Allah's reward, and yet destroying themselves internally? Is it okay in our religion? You know what, I talked about that a little bit earlier. It is not okay. You know, Allah says to speak against depression, even if it is against yourself. And He even gives us steps. You know, first you try to change something with your hand. And if you can't change it with your hand, then you try to change it with your mouth. Then you speak on it. And if that doesn't change, then the one place where you do change it is you try to change it within your heart. And you let it be known that I myself do not agree with this. How do I let it be known? You let it be known, if nothing else, with your own conduct. Let you be the one who does something differently. You know, in my counseling session, something that I talk about is when we want to change a relationship for the better. And let's say I'm the person who wants to make the change. Then it's my responsibility to start. I'm the one who wants to do it. Now, the problem is that when you have economic abuse, when you have verbal abuse, when you have physical abuse. When you have all these types of forms of abuse, how do I make a change when I'm being oppressed? When I don't have a voice within my own family or within my own marriage? Yes, it does make it difficult. And I went where you said, what do you do? Or do you wait patiently and end up destroying yourself internally? You know, so now I talked a bit earlier about how to create something internally to help you get through this. So I'm talking about doing the very thing that you're saying to do. I'm saying go against that. Do something counterintuitive. You really can make the decision, and I know this is hard. I know this is so hard. How do I make the decision not to be destroyed internally when I am being abused? It is going to be about creating something. You creating something in your head and in your heart that belongs to no one except for you and your Lord, and creating a safe place internally until you are able to make the decision about what you are going to do long term about the situation. And I hope, Sanaa, that inshallah that answered your question to some degree. Sometimes the safest place, you know, they'll tell women, oh, you need to leave, you need to go to a shelter, you need to go to your family. Sometimes the safe place is here. And creating a safe place here, and then working on safe places externally. Okay, this is the last question, and it's from a wife. And she said, I got married in 2014. And I won't say where the husband is from because that really doesn't matter. The relationship issues started early in 2015 when he started to pressure me to have children. He has hepatitis B, and although I have been vaccinated, I still see that I have a chance to get infected. We started to not have a relationship inside and outside the home, and sexual intimacy stopped. In August 2015, I caught him online on a dating site. He admitted that he was trying to cheat on me. And then I confronted him on the Skype that he also added in addition to the dating site. Then in 2015, he told me that I needed to travel to my country within 15 days. And they had to go for the purpose of immigration status. He bought my ticket, and some days after I got pneumonia, I spent a couple of days in the hospital. But since I have come back, since I've returned, he has canceled the financial support. And when I moved into our new place, I moved alone. Now it's been a year and 8 months, and I'm in my parents' home. And he says that I need to stay here because of his job, that he can get fired at any time. And I'm confused about his situation. I'm confused about our situation. He says that he doesn't lie and he's a good Muslim, and I see the opposite. And what guarantee do I have that he's not on the dating site again? What would you do if you were in the same situation as me? I can't handle one more year of this. There are a lot of things going on here. You know, the dating site, which, you know, I don't know, how far this has gone, but there is a such thing as social infidelity. Social infidelity is when someone is just overtly and excessively friendly with people of the opposite sex, and where they have conversations that are not necessary, and they have interactions that are not necessary. Why is this wrong? It puts you at risk of developing an inappropriate relationship. One of the first things Islam teaches us is for us to safeguard ourselves and to put a protection around ourselves. So, and this is for men and women, and it's not just specific to this, for us to be aware of the risk factors of just having, oh, I'm just being nice, and that's okay. And then you have another conversation where you're just being nice. And then you have another conversation, oh, we were just being friendly. And the next thing you know, you're meeting somewhere. And it seems like, oh, that's not my intention at all. Islam teaches us that many of us go to the hellfire based on good intentions. We can have good intentions, but you never know the intention of the other person, and we never ever know the intention of Shaitan. We know that his is never good for us. So I'm going to go back to this question. I talked a bit earlier about financial abuse, and I don't know whether or not her husband is being financially abusive, or if he really does have some financial restrictions. So I'm going to speak specifically to you, sister. I hear where you're at your parents' home, so it sounds like you are somewhere where you can have your needs met, which is crucial for being able to think clearly. It's very hard to think clearly when you're clouded by certain things. So and you said that I'm confused, and how do I have any guarantees about what he's doing with his time? You don't. You don't have any guarantees. This is going to be about you making a decision about what is going to be good for you. You are not with your husband right now. What is it that you want to do with your marriage? What is it that you want to do with your life? What is it that you want to do with your relationship with Allah? What is it that you want to do with your time? And make the decision about what you are going to do that is going to give you Allah's favor and is going to be healthy for you. I want to suggest that you look at your pros. Look at go through some of those questions I just listed. What are the benefits? What are the things that, okay, I could do this and I could do this, and how would this be good for me? And I also want you to look at the cons. Look at the ways that, okay, if I did that, who would that hurt? Would that be harmful? And look at it and weigh your good and the bad and see, what are the potential outcomes? What can I control? What can I not control? And make a deliberate decision about where you want to go forward from here. All right, so let me check and see if a question came in while we've all been together. Sanaa had a really, really good one. Okay, so I don't see any more for today. Oh, someone came in from Ghana. Thank you. Appreciate you joining. I'm here every 2 weeks, so please come back and join us and tell others. So I'm going to close for today. I appreciate all of you so much. If you do have an additional question or a comment that you didn't present today, please do so. Tell others. After today, I'm going to come back and I look at the page to see if someone has something that I missed or if there's a follow-up, because I really do. My goal, inshallah, is for someone to get something from this. I love the hearts. Keep them coming. They make me feel really good and make me smile. I appreciate all of you. Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh. I pray for your good. May Allah reward you all and give you the good of this life. Ameen.